Good morning, everybody. This is day 6 of the Vice Freedom Challenge. So I'm thrilled that all of you are here, either on the phone with me, on Zoom, or on Facebook. So I just want to say thank you, because the biggest compliment I can certainly receive, important resource, and your time is very valuable. And the fact that you're here is something I'm deeply grateful for. So thank you. It's a huge compliment, and I'm here in absolute and complete service in helping you heal and expand and to just feel, the joys and abundance of life. I didn't always live like this. I was very attached to vices, and vices that were not good for me. I'm not going to get into too much of that, but I have shared here that I used to smoke a pack and half a day. Can you believe it? It's been 21 years that I quit. I've used this exact process to quit that and other things, and to change and shift. And so the divine has been just, in my ear, because I obviously talk about having it all and quantum success, and this is obviously needed. So hello, Alamada. Hello, Heather. Hello, Georgia, and all of you that are on, Judy, and everybody that's on. Hello. So this has been something that the divine has been talking to me about, because obviously my life has completely changed by taking myself through this process and taking personal one-on-one clients through this process. And now it's time to share it. And I'm just deeply grateful that all of you are here and that you're taking yourselves through this process, because it does work. So today we are talking about the 6th essential universal law, which is the law of detachment. And for me, this is like the freedom law. For me, freedom, we all as human beings have a deep desire to feel free, because that's really our nature. Although many of us, which we learned with the law of sufficiency and abundance when we had that talk, many of us don't feel free in our lives because we're so stuck in lack and limitation. And for me, this is the law of freedom, because to be free of the good opinions of others, to be free from the stress that other people feel. I mean, it could be your husband, it could be your kids, it could be your mom, your dad. To be free, to have your own connection with your divine and know that all will be working itself out, even though you may not know exactly how, just to know that it's all good, even if it doesn't seem like it's all good. When other people are presenting with their fears and anxieties and all that, to be in a space of just holding the space for them, that it is okay. So to be free, oops, I have someone... let me see here. Mute all. That was interesting. I don't know what happened on the Zoom, but that was interesting. Okay, so hi everybody on Zoom. So, but when you practice and you can start applying detachment, life becomes full of peace and freedom and contentment. And you kind of get to be that cosmic 3-year-old, that just gets to enjoy the journey. I don't know if many of you remember when you were 3 years old, or if you had kids that were 3 years old. When you're 3, it's like, oh, we're going here now. Oh, we're going here. And Maxim makes this noise. I mean, he's not I'm hearing noises. It's really weird. Maxim makes this noise where he's like, ooh, it's just that, ooh, the surprise and the delight of, ooh, we're going here. We get to work with the divine. We get to decide what we want. We're going to get into that a little bit. But then we get to be the, ooh, how is it going to unfold, and be in that space of enjoying the unknown. Because if our minds as human beings, we feel we have to know, especially those type A, got to make it happen, kind of thing. But you don't get to be in that space of the unknown, which is where the magic actually does happen, where the surprise and the delights, where our limited minds, as smart as we are, as brilliant as we are, we don't have a clue of all the different stuff that's in our, as Abraham Hicks says, that's in our vortex, just waiting for us to align with it, and all the different things and ways that the universe can bring us the things that we desire in a much better, more elegant, more fun way than we could even think in our limitations and our limited minds. Because if you continue your work in consciousness expansion, what you're going to be able to do and to manifest and to think about and create in 5 years from now is going to be totally different than what you can do today. Just because there's always that expansion. There's always that deeper connection with the divine, with that understanding of energy. So the law of detachment says in order to acquire anything in this physical universe, we must relinquish our attachments to it. See, as human beings with our amazing personalities that we have, we get a hold of a desire, right? And then we think we have to figure out the how, the when, the where, the who. And I'm going to let y'all be fired today because that's not your job. It's not your job. So we can all give ourselves back in the old days, they used to give us a pink slip and said we were fired. I don't know. I've never experienced that. But I've been let go of a job before, but I never got the pink slip. But basically, we all get the pink slip. We all get this thing that says we're no longer in charge, right? So I'm going to give you examples. So for example, if you're trying to sell a house and you're getting attached to when will everything close? When will we get an offer? When, and we feel attached to something, and it's in that attachment, we then feel stressed, anxious, fearful, and that's when we then reach for the vices, because we don't like the emotions, because we're not inept yet in knowing what to do with our emotions and becoming that deliberate creator to actually choose the focus and the direction that we want our energy to go in. Because P.S. by the way, you also get in the way of the divine, because we are here to actually, again, not do it ourselves. We're here to co-create with the divine. And both the non-physical, the divine, the pure potential, abundant energy, and the physical you, so there's two components, has a job to do in the creation process. And of course, in changing anything that's limiting you, such as a vice. So you decide what you want, and then you thank the divine, you thank the universe, you thank that energy in advance. It's the divine's job to create the path to get you the desire that you've defined and then provide you with the direction to get there one step at a time. Your job is to follow each step. And sometimes ask for more clarification or further direction if you need it along the way, right? As this relationship unfolds, as the relationship unfolds and the creations unfold, you get to, as the physical human being, receive the good that you desire and then celebrate, right? And this builds trust. This builds trust in the process. When you do your job, and don't try to do the job of the divine, you allow the divine to do its job, and then when you get what you want. It's like if you had your own business and your job is to do a particular task, right? Your job is to, in my case, right, coach, heal, speak, write. Those are the things where I'm in my genius, right? I am not in my genius when I'm trying to figure out how to do something on Facebook, or I'm trying to build a page on my website. That I'm complete non-genius. I'm the opposite, polar opposite of that. But it'd be like me trying to go tell someone that is an expert on building web pages how to do their job. It's not my place. And I'm in the way. If I'm telling that person how to do their job, I'm in the way of that person doing their job. It's the same thing with the divine. You get to stay in your lane and let the divine stay in its lane. And you get to decide, ooh, that idea, which comes from the divine anyway, ooh, I love that. Oh, wow. That's a yes for me. Okay, divine, show me what the next step is. And then you receive a phone call, or all of a sudden you get the idea to send an email, or. But the steps are all laid out in front of you. And you, the physical human being, the co-creative partner with the divine, take those steps. Take those steps with the understanding that the divine has you. That you don't have to worry and fret and be anxious and worry about the timing and the when and the how and the who and the... It's a waste of energy. And as far as it relates here to vices, when we're doing that, we feel bad. We feel bad inside of our own skin. And then it's like, all right, what do I need to do to escape? So when you do what you do, and you allow the divine to do what he do, or she do, whatever, you get to be detached. And you get out of the way, and you let, here's where all the laws come together, you let the pure potentiality flow. You allow yourself to deliberately focus on what you do want. You focus on the abundance instead of the lack of. And law of attraction is just a mirror going, okay, giving you what you want. You're in the energy of a high vibration of abundance, of trust. We're going to give you all the stuff. We're going to flow it to you. The pure potentiality in all the different ways and avenues flows to you. And you get to stay in a space of, again, when an emotion comes through, when something frustrates you, when something angers you, when, you get to process your emotions and then connect with your divine and get back into that place of flow, of allowing the good, the abundance. So because of the law of pure potentiality and the law of sufficiency and abundance, just know what you're doing and what you're guided to do will be revealed to you at the perfect time. Detachment is so key in the co-creative process. And it's also key in letting go of a vice. When you're going to be ready, when's the right timing, when you will finally be healed, when you need to have it as you think you need to. I remember feeling, I just want to share a personal story, I remember feeling so attached. I was ready to quit smoking 21 years ago. And nothing I did helped me. It was like I felt so out of control and I felt so badly about myself. I felt like such a weak person. Like, why can't I just stop this thing? I would try anything to just let myself be released of this vice. And the more I was attached to when is this going to happen, the more I would jack myself up. And the worse I would feel, I'd feel worse about myself. But, I would throw my cigarettes away and then an hour later go and, what a waste of time. What a waste of money. What a waste of energy. Go and buy another pack of cigarettes, smoke the cigarette, feel bad about myself, beat myself up the whole time I was doing it, throw them away again, the whole lighter, the whole thing, and then maybe an hour or hour and a half, sometimes I was buying 10 packs of cigarettes a day and going through this process. But for me, it was really detaching from becoming a smoker and becoming a non-smoker. And then bam, it happened. I was literally driving in a car. I was working for the wine company, and I was working for a district manager of the liquor company. And he was talking to me about how his wife was pregnant and she was continuing to smoke. And she had a child from a previous marriage who had respiratory problems because she smoked through the whole entire pregnancy. Now, in that moment, I went, oh my God. I told myself that if I would definitely quit smoking when I became a professional woman wearing suits or I had children. Well, here I am sitting in this car wearing a cute little suit, professional woman. I'm like, an area manager for the whole Midwest, managing liquor or my wine brand for this company, this liquor company. And I couldn't quit. I'm wearing a little suit. So what made me think, and I wasn't even in a relationship at this point, just had a breakup. What made me think that when I actually had children, I would be able to quit smoking? that was the day, that was the last day I smoked a cigarette. And I didn't have kids for another 15 years later. But I knew that I said two things, and the one thing I'm doing, I'm here, and I can't even do this. What makes me think that when I have kids, and do I want that outcome? That day, so I couldn't have predicted that. I didn't have to go to Nicotine Anonymous for that. It was just a moment in which I had a choice in front of me. And that's what I'm hoping for all of you, because some of you are ready to quit your vices today. It no longer serves you. It's just making you feel bad. It's a waste of time, money, energy, everything. And you're like, I need a change. And so we're going to do some energy work today to detach, because how I had to detach from being a smoker, I had to then become and live into the energy of being a non-smoker. Now, interesting enough, I was playing with this and did all this before I even learned about the universal laws. Something intuitively in me just knew that if I stayed identifying myself as a smoker, I wasn't going to continue, I wasn't going to be able to heal that part of me. But becoming a non-smoker, how would a non-smoker sit, act? I even gave myself a goal, because at that time, I love, and I still do, I love fashion, but I always wanted a Coach purse. And I told myself, smokers, now this is what I just, mind myself with, smokers don't have nice purses like that, but non-smokers do. So when I become a non-smoker, I am going to reward myself with a Coach purse. So I had a carrot dangling out in front of me. But who would I be as a non-smoker? Who would you be with someone that didn't gamble or didn't shop to fill yourselves up? Now, there's nothing wrong with shopping. I love shopping. But when you're doing it from a place of needing to fill yourself up, or who would you be if you didn't, drink coffee all day long, or whatever your vice is? Who would you be if you didn't compare yourself to other people? Who would you be if you stopped judging yourself and everything in life? Who would you be if you stopped controlling? Who would you be if whatever vice is limiting you, remember vice is like it's a vice, whatever is limiting you, who would you be if you were free from that? Who would you be? So remember, the law of attraction and the law of pure potentiality, there are just countless ways that the universe can provide for you. And I always like to think of it this way. The universe has a bird's eye view on your life. It has an expanded view with ways of delivering you what you want in ways that your human mind cannot and will not conceive of right now. So our time together over the last few days, and again, I appreciate you so much for being here, whether it's been on the phone or Zoom or Facebook, or even if you're listening to the replays. We have one more day together after today. And for those of you that are joining for January and February, the bonus meditations, you actually have until the 10th to join and then get the bonus of the meditations. This might actually be the thing that helps you heal and gets you over and past. Another way of saying it is gets you detached from your vices. For others of you, this might be just that stepping stone that you needed. The stepping stone in your healing process during this last 6 days together, and tomorrow being the 7th day. There might be more to do. There might be more to understand. We're all on a very different path with a very different timing. But you can go and find out more information. I know someone in the chat on Zoom is asking what's the link. It's christywhitman.com/vice. So in the cases of vices, you decide that you're ready to feel unlimited. You're ready to feel good inside of yourself. You're ready to decide how you want to feel and what you want to experience. And then you allow the timing to unfold when it's perfect for you. Now, I want to say this because this is really important. This does not mean that you create by default or that you shouldn't desire or intend for what you want to create. Remember, the meant to be and luck don't exist. It's all law of attraction. We need to work in connection with law of attraction to create what we desire. And this means that the law of detachment works in harmony with all the laws, including the law of attraction. It's all about trust. When we are in a state of detachment, we're trusting. To be detached from the outcome of some kind of result means that you have to learn how to trust. Now, what is trust? I like the acronym. Trust means to rely unto spirit totally. Well, how do you do that? Most of us didn't have a deep connected spiritual, expanded experience of this thing called God or the divine. For me, in my early religious upbringing, and I'm not saying anything bad about religion or anything like that, but my God was a head. This is from a kid's perspective, what I learned. It was a head that sat on a cloud and would judge me. And if I smoked a cigarette, I can't get into heaven. I'm a bad girl. So, all right, I'll just go be a bad girl. I'll be a rocker girl. I'll be a whatever girl. Because I can't get into heaven now. Because that God that I know judges me for everything that I'm doing. That is not true. That took a lot of reprogramming to understand that the God, Goddess, all that is, the divine spirit, loves me and does not judge me. The higher realms and all the team of spirits, souls, guides, masters that each and every one of us have, they're not there going, oh, she smoked a cigarette. Oh, she smoked a joint. Oh, she drank too much coffee today. Oh, she's comparing herself. They're just there waiting for us, the small self, to connect with the higher self. They too have universal laws that they'd have to adhere to. They can't impose themselves on us. We have to, almost like the image of a spider sending up a web, casting a web, and then the spider crawls up to it. The web can't create to go to the spider. The spider has to create the web. That's our job, to create and connect with the divine that always wants the best for us. So you have to develop this connection. You have to develop a consistent relationship with the divine, with source, with the non-physical part of you. And if let me say this, how do you do that? Think about your other relationships. If they're important to you, you invest your time, you invest your energy, you invest your attention. And the same is true with this most significant relationship. If you do not know how to do that, I am happy to help you do that. That's what I'm gifted in, and that's what I'm so deeply grateful that I went through that, and I'm still going through that. I'm still learning my connection with my divine. Consciousness is forever. It's an expansion. Those of you that were my students 10 years ago, I'm a very different teacher in person and healer than I was 10 years ago, or even 5 years ago, or even 2 years ago, or a year ago, maybe even 6 months ago. I'm evolving, but I know how to help people heal. And that's what I'm here to do for you. And that's why I'm inviting you to join me for the rest of the month and in February. So again, it's ChristyWhitman.com/Vice. But one thing I want to say about this, because this is important from a human perspective. If you have troubles in relationships, maybe getting intimate emotionally and trusting another person, one of my teachers, Karen Lamarck Wilson, said that intimacy is into me, I see. So if you're having a hard time with relationships out here, you're probably having a hard time with your most significant relationship, which is with yourself. And of course, the divine that's within you. So that's where the work is. Because how you do your relationships is how you will approach the relationship that you have with your divine. And if you have a hard time with intimacy, this is a growth and healing point for you. So when you know that spirit, divine, non-physical, whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter what you call it, it will give you what's in your highest, which might be different than the personality might think it be. But when you learn to do the work that's required to be done from your co-creative partnering with it, the results take care of itself. The timing of how things manifest come at the perfect time. So when we trust that the universe knows what the perfect timing is, and usually it's when we're ready, when we're in an allowing space, it happens faster because we're getting out of the way. And with us getting out of the way, there is no resistance and everything just flows faster. Consciousness loves speed. Energy just loves to flow. It loves to free flow, and it goes and it flows with those that are like, I'm open, come. Healing happens faster with the grace and the ease of the flow of the universe. But if you stand in the way of the energy creating the outcome or the particular result having to look a certain way through lack of trust or insecurity or fearfulness, you put a barrier in the way of blocking the efficiency of that flow of energy. It's just resistance. So by learning to trust, this is huge. You live in the wisdom of insecurity and uncertainty. Insecurity it has a bad connotation like being selfish. When we don't know that where the security is coming from, but we know there's going to be security. We know that we're safe. We know that when we walk, the earth below us is going to stay there. There's a certainty about that. There's a security about that. We know that. But when you're trying to manifest something, doesn't matter if you're, like I said, trying to sell a house, trying to buy a house, trying to get a job, build a career, when's your next client going to come? When's the man going to come? When's the woman going to, if I'm ever going to get pregnant, whatever the thing that we desire as a human, we have unlimited opportunities. We need to be able to be in the present moment of now. And how we do that is we heal the past, because we cannot be present in our now if we've got all this emotional trauma happening. Or if we're projecting into a future that looks just completely bleak. That's how you stay in your now. Because all time is simultaneous. And so when we think of the future, it affects our now. When we think of the past, or we hear a song from the past, or we think of a memory, or something comes up, something jogs something, we see something, or someone is acting in a way that someone in our past did, it affects our now. So as human beings, we want to know. And our personalities, oh my God, but just bless our personalities. They're just so cute and sweet. We want to know everything that's happening. We want to know everything that's going to happen 10 years down the road. But the divine divulges and gives us what we can hold and handle now. And it's our job to really trust that the uncertainty or the unknown holds amazing surprise and delights for us. And I can guarantee you one thing, because I've been doing this work for a long time. I see it in my life. I see it in my clients' lives. When you can stay with the essence energy, the forms will show up. But the essence energy, if you're in lack, and that's the essence energy you're pumping out into the uncertainty and into the insecurity of what's happening, the end result has to be something that also matches that lack. It doesn't turn out. It doesn't turn out the way you want it. It's not as profitable as it would have been. Whatever. That's why we started the New Year's Eve meditation with what's the essence energy you want to bring into your universe for 2018. Tap into that as often as you can. Anytime you think of a relationship, anytime you think of a manifestation, anything you have a desire, tap into that essence energy. That essence energy is a consciousness and will carry you through. Our job is to trust the uncertainty or the unknown. And the way you approach the unknown or the uncertainty is the outcome it will produce. If you're fearful and worried because you don't have all the answers, You don't know when the client will show up or when your ideal partner will appear or the house will sell or you'll finally release the vice once and for all, I should say. The energy of fearful worry, anxiety will create the outcome that you do not want. Law. That's not me, not little Christy Whitman talking. This is universal law. But if you can be in the place of positive expectation and trust that the good is going to come to you, maybe look different than your mind like says it has to be this way. It may look a little different, but if you can open up to the energy, the forms that come, it's going to, wow, there's a possibility. Say to yourself, there's a possibility that's even better than what I can think of. I can't tell you how many times I've done that. I think it needs to be this way. Maybe I need to do that. No, there are possibilities that exist right now that I haven't even thought of. And it always turns out that way. It always surprises and delights me. I want to even give you an example. This is just a silly little thing. We were supposed to go to a friend of ours' wedding in September. And we already had our plane ticket and everything. And Maxim's karate teacher said that his belt test for him to get into a blue belt was going to be during that same weekend. And I went, oh, God. All right. What are our options? Because that's the question I always ask when I find something that's contrast that I don't want. What are my options? Well, we could not go to the wedding, but that doesn't feel good. That feels constricting. I really want to be part of the wedding. We could talk to the teacher and see if he can move the date. Lots of different options, right? So I contacted the sensei and let him know that we really want to be there for his belt test. This is important for him. What could we do? What are our options? Well, I didn't even think of this option. But they were doing a tip test, which is different than a belt test for those of you that have been in karate or have kids in karate. They were doing it on a different weekend. So Maxim could come and do his belt test when all the other kids were doing his tip test. And it happened to be the weekend of his birthday. I will tell you, this was the most significant weekend of this child's life so far. It was his 7th birthday, but more importantly, he went to karate. And where everybody was doing a tip test, where they were doing their katas and all that kind of stuff, Maxim, because he was going for his belt test, had to do sparring. And he sparred with a guy that was like a lot taller than him, and then the next guy got taller than him, and then the next guy, and everybody in the dojo was rooting him on, and he fell and he got back up. That kid changed in that moment. And I don't know if that moment for him would have been as significant if he would have been with everybody else doing the regular belt test. So my point to this is the universe has so many more options than we can even think of. But if we're closed down to it and it needs to look a certain way, it can't come. But if you're open, just knowing that there are possibilities that exist that I can't even think of right now, they open, you're allowing, you're detached, you're in a space of abundance, you're deliberately circumventing the mind, you're working with all the universal laws. So remember the law of sufficiency and abundance. If the energy you're giving to anything is lack, if I would have gone, oh great, now I can't go to that wedding, well, that sucks. It would have been a totally different outcome. What you send out in energy is what you will receive in the end. If it's abundance, it's going to manifest as abundance. So just see how all these universal laws work together. They're really important. So detachment is another way of saying allowing, but I want to make the difference here. Allowing is an inner state of being. It's an experience. It's an energy. Detachment is how we have a relationship with the things that we want and the energy that we flow to a certain outcome. It's the outer expression of the inner relationship that we have within ourselves to the things that we're holding inside of ourselves. So When we know it's going to work out, we're at a state of peace and the energy can flow. It's when you combine your intentions and detach from the outcomes that your desires will manifest in a much easier, graceful way. And that's when change and transformation can occur. Now, this is not to say, and I want you all to hear this because this is super important, not to say don't make goals and don't take action in achieving those goals. I am the last person to say that because I believe that's a secret to my success and the thousands of clients that I've had the pleasure and honoring of supporting and mentoring. It's all about alignment and momentum. It's an upward alignment and an outer momentum. It's the feminine and the masculine. That's our human experience. We align with the divine inside of us. We receive the information, the first step. I'm in the process of this right now. I mean, I got aligned. I got an intention that I wanted to take my show, Quantum Success Show, to a totally different level. And I want to be able to just show up and do it. And I have opportunities that are being presented from many streams. It's like, whoa, they're all coming at me. And I'm looking at where am I aligned? And I'm aligned with one person and one opportunity in particular. And he's like presenting me with like so many different options. And for me, I'm like, it's a yes. It's a yes. My first step is just to say yes. What's next? What's the next step? How do we then co-create how that's going to show up? It's the first step. That's what is in my awareness. And the first step is all I need to take. And after the first step is then the second step. For you, it might be, for your vices, just being aware of the triggers. And we're going to do that today. We're going to play with that a bit. But it's all about alignment and momentum that brings us what I want. And it's our job to take the action steps and to follow the guidance of the divine. And some of the action steps might be, as it relates to the vices, taking a different action. One of my vices is I eat a lot of sugar. And I start off because I drink, a cup of coffee in the morning, but I put too much sugar in it. So I went, all right, if I'm in alignment and momentum, because sugar is going to make me want sugar all day long, it's the first out of the gate, putting sugar in my coffee. I started using stevia. First time I tasted it was like, oh, that's horrible. But I'm getting used to it. But I'll tell you, it makes me not want to drink as much coffee, and I have no cravings for sugar. Again, after 3 days, the physical cravings go away. It's the mental and the habitual. So if it's smoking, cannabis, marijuana, if it's caffeine, whatever the physicality is, it takes the body 3 days to just literally get back to a state of neutrality. And we're going to talk more about that in the Vice Freedom Challenge. But the law of deliberate creation and the power of intention and the law of detachment all work together to create your desires. And applying the law of detachment to your goals and desires allows you to be flexible and trust when the universe delivers you something for which you're a vibrational match to. And something you didn't expect. So detachment allows you to stay open, to allow the universe to bring you something even better than you thought possible. So practice today, and this is going to be our practice. I'm going to give you a tool. Practice with the triggers and detaching from those triggers. We all have triggers, or we wouldn't do, triggers either inside of ourselves, or we see someone doing something. Maybe you're on Facebook and you see someone being really successful and then you feel jealous. That's a trigger. You might have, you're in debt and don't feel good, and you see someone driving a Maserati and you've always loved Maseratis, so then you feel bad about yourself. Or, wake up with the whole thing of, I don't have enough energy. I need to, I need something different. I need caffeine to pump me up. I don't feel patient, or I'm feeling anxiety and I don't know where the anxiety is coming from, so I'm going to go smoke a joint. Whatever the trigger is, just have awareness of what the trigger is. And we need to detach from the triggers. That's where the work is. So I'd like you to start thinking about some of the triggers. I'm going to talk for just a moment and then we're going to go into the process, because there's 2 points I really want to make that's important for our time together during the Vice Freedom Challenge. Number 1, there's absolutely nothing wrong with any of the tools, any of the vices, unless you make it wrong by your judgments. So if you're going to go eat some chocolate, for example, eat it, enjoy it, savor it, but don't judge yourself for eating it. Don't use it as a way to feel badly about yourself or beat yourself up. This is when it becomes a vice. If you're going to smoke a joint, smoke it and enjoy all the benefits of it, but don't judge yourself before, during, and after. It's when what we're doing in our lives becomes something that limits us, causes us to feel bad, and then becomes an excuse to beat ourselves up, that keeps us in the lowest vibration in the universe, which is self-pity, where it becomes a vicious cycle and it really truly limits the amazing, outstanding, phenomenal being that you are. So the second thing I want to say before we go into the process today, and I'm going a little bit longer today, when you use what you use, and you use it as a way to fill yourself up, to make you escape, to help you feel in control, to help you deal with anxiety or loneliness or whatever you're feeling, this is taking you away from your unlimited nature. When you go outside and use something, when the divine in you is using that as a calling forth, so you're using something that takes you away instead of calling you inward to the divine, that's when there's craving. You're craving something. You're in a state of resistance and not allowing the fullness of who you are. The cravings you're having are returning back to the only thing that can fill you up. And when it's not filled up from that divine part of you, which is the only thing that can fill you up, you're blocking and limiting your amount of freedom and abundance, whatever essence you said that you wanted during this year of 2018. Think about that. When you're feeling anxious, when you're feeling empty, when you feel like you need something, and you go outside of yourself, think of that as a bam, a limitation, a block. Instead of, I'm craving something, I'm needing something, I'm wanting the love of my divine, I'm going to sit with that energy. I'm going to let my divine fill me up with love. I'm going to tap into the essence of success, whatever your essence word is. I'm going to tap into the essence of freedom. And just let that fill my body up. Let me fill my being up. Let it fill my aura up. Let me just be filled and in tune with the consciousness of that alignment of that energy. That's when you're expanding. Polar opposites. When you feel stuck in your life in creating the money that you want, look at your vices. If you're stuck in creating the relationships that you want, look at your vices. If you're stuck in creating the career that you want, look at your vices. If you turn inward and get filled up when you crave something, it will lead to a greater expansion of self, a greater expansion of consciousness, a greater expansion to the higher vibrations and frequencies, and then more good flows into your life because you're in a truly space of allowing. We talked about this the other day. It's not about deserving, as we've talked about for several days during this time. I mean, it's about your willingness. It's about your willingness to heal. It's about your willingness to allow in the good that is your birthright. It's your allowingness. It's your willingness to let go of your reasons and your excuses. It's your willingness to let go of old payoffs that don't serve you anymore. So what are the payoffs that cause people to stay stuck in the lowest vibrations, not be able to create what they want? We're going to go through that tomorrow in the law of polarity and much deeper into the Vice Freedom program the rest of the month of January. By the way, so many of you were asking what's the calendar, like when are the dates for January and February. That's actually on the replay page, so you have full calendar, so you can mark it in your calendars and seeing if you're able to make it live or not. And if you're not, obviously we have the recordings. And because you're in a group, however many come in and it is filling up, I'm sending energy to you all day, every day. So it is very different than even this when you're listening to the replay, because now you're cocooned in the energy that I'm sending you. But the replay page is christywhitman.com/vice, and all that is listed on there. But it's your willingness. It's your willingness to let go of the payoffs and to find new ones. So today, what I'd like all of you to do is write a list of what good will happen. What good will happen? What possibilities will happen if you let go of the reasons you can't and let go of the limitations? Are you willing to allow yourself to have your good? Okay, so here we go. Here's the exercise for today. Go ahead and close your eyes. And what I'd like you to do is I want you to think about some triggers. Okay, we all know what they are. You're going through your day and, your boss says something to you. Trigger. Okay, so right now, what I'd like you to do is just take a deep breath in and breathe into your body. Any place you need to forgive yourself and release any judgments, release any shame, any guilt. Just you are the master of energy. Just command that energy just to release from your body. And imagine above your head is a golden ball of light, allowing this light to fill in for you the essence that you have chosen and filled yourself up and created for 2018. If it's freedom, fill the freedom inside of your body, every single cell in your body. If it's success, fill your whole entire being with success. If it's abundance, prosperity, love, compassion, whatever your word is, whatever your essence is, fill yourself up. Feel yourself connected from your head, dropping down to your heart, dropping down to your power center, your aura, allowing yourself to be completely filled up inside your body and outside of your aura. Now, from this very centered, very connected place where your energy is flowing and the consciousness of your essence is filling you up, I'm just going to use success as an example. So you're filled up with success. Think about some of the triggers. Might be a 2 o'clock dip in the afternoon and you feel like you just need something. So you normally reach for your vice. See yourself now having that vice call to you, because that's what you know you've used. See yourself instead stopping and filling yourself up with the flow, the energy, the consciousness of your essence, of that success, of that freedom, of that divine love. And feel yourself, it just takes moments, honestly, to just shift from a thought of one thing to a thought of something else. Let yourself be immersed in this energy, filling yourself up. And once again, see another trigger. Maybe your husband, your spouse, your partner comes home and they're stressed out and they got all this like frenetic energy. Stay inside of yourself. Fill yourself up with that consciousness, with that flow. You can still see yourself in the presence of this person and see them still being able to allow. They're allowed to be where they are. They're allowed to have their consciousness the way it is. They're allowed to choose. They're deliberate also. They also have free will. But see yourself choosing as they're frenetic, or they're stressed, or they're worried, or they're fearful. Stay in your own center with your own expansion of your own essence energy. Get on the phone with your mother and she starts talking about they don't have enough money. Fill yourself up. Or maybe you're sitting there and you feel lonely. And that loneliness leads to wanting to smoke or drink or shop or whatever it is for you. Instead of going out and doing that, for a moment, pull your energy and attention inward and see yourself being filled with this energy and light, with this essence. This is what you're craving. You're craving the highest vibrations in the universe. You're craving the frequencies of this essence. This is what you want in the first place. So allow every single cell in your body, allow your emotions to be immersed, allow your emotions to match this frequency. So this is the work for today. And because we are physical beings, instead of reaching for the outward vice, go inward, fill yourself up, and then go drink a big glass of water. As a physical being, we need something different to replace. So allow yourself to come back into the room. And if you're feeling, as you start to come back in the room, we're going to give you the affirmation. So the affirmation for today is, I open to new, original, creative, expansive, and fresh thoughts. I'm going to say the words so you can say it to yourself. I open to new, original, creative, expansive, and fresh thoughts. Excuse me. Allow yourself, I need my jug. Allow yourself to come back in the room. Losing my voice. Oh my, guess we're done for today. I have a frog in my throat. So this is the practice for today. You have the trigger. Go inside and fill yourself up from what you truly do want. So tomorrow is our last day for the Vice Freedom Challenge. We're working with, oh my God, the law of polarity, and we're going to be diving deeper into our payoffs so we can get rid of them and switch our focus from being a smoker to a non-smoker or whatever it is. And it'll be our last day together. So if you want to join me and be in this field for the next 30 days in January, and of course the whole month of February, please join us. We have a few spots left. ChristyWhitman.com/Vice. It's my pleasure to be here with you. Thank you for your time. I'm so honored you spend your Saturday with me. Thanks, everybody. Bye.